Hello there, in this video we're going to look at building a sort component for our design system, so let's go. Okay, welcome back to the file. So a couple of things before we start. One, as you can see, we've updated the thumbnail, so I've made it a little bit clearer. If I go back to home, as you can see here, the focus is really on what the file name is and not DWM, which I think is what we had before. So you can really see what the file is. So that's definitely the style guide, that's definitely the UI kit, nice and clear. If I go in again, I've got the logo in there as well, and I've got a couple of useful links in here as well for the website and also for the YouTube channel, so that might come in handy. So the second thing is, you're probably thinking, in the last video I said we're going to do something to do with filtering, and in this video I'm now talking about doing something to do with sorting. So just to go into the research file, I think as I put filter by here, I said in the outro of the last video we'll work on a filter for our next component. Now this probably isn't a filter. So really what this is it's more to do with sorting. So it reorders items so users can scan and compare them more easily. So like A to Z, price high to low, star rating. It's not really a filter. So filters offer more functionality usually. So you click on the drop down and you'd be able to filter on multiple things to narrow the criteria. I don't think we need that here. I think it's more of a sorting component. So I just wanted to clear that up just before we start working in the file. Alright, so back in our UI kit file, let's scroll down here, let's click plus and let's just put sort. Okay, now we've got a new page in there. Let's just go into navigation links and let's just grab the layout. So let's just copy this. Just gonna lock it again, scroll down, go back to sort. Let's paste that in. Okay, let's just tidy up this page. Okay, there we go, the page is updated. I'm actually going to rename this component so it's called sort selector. So a sort selector lets users reorder a list when the default order doesn't suit their needs. I think that matches the criteria for what we're after here. So let me just zoom out for a second and let's just draw our testing frame over here. There we go. And let's go back into the research file. Let's just grab this section here and let's just paste it in here. Okay, so I'm going to just delete that for now. Okay, so looking at what we've taken from the research file, it's pretty basic. We've got star rating and price. I don't think we need two. We can probably combine these into one sort drop down. So we could probably have, let's just think about this. You would want to order by, probably do price, and we could do high to low, and we'll just flip that around and do low to high as well. And what we'll do here, instead of put star rating, let's just put rating, and then again we could do highest first, and then we can drop that down and do lowest. Whoops, lowest first. Let's just have a quick look in the research file again at the wireframes. Yeah, so I think we've got a star rating here and we've got price. Those are probably the two core things on this page that you're going to be able to sort by. Okay, so that can be our list of options. It can be combined into one drop down, so that's good. Let's just update that label for now. I think in this case, as we've got a pretty basic sort, I would opt to just put everything in this list. If you were designing a more complex sort where you had a lot more in that list, I'd probably opt to put an icon or something here to the right of this drop down where you can do ascending and descending, because it gives you more flexibility and then you don't have to clutter up your list with lots of duplicates like price high to low, price low to high, and so on. So that's another option that you could use. Okay, let's just drag these elements down a little bit here. Okay, just before we start to dig in deeper into what kind of states we're going to need, so let's just wrap that very, very quickly. I'm just going to add, let's just add any color. Let's add white for now. Let's add an effect on it as well. There we go. So at least we can see it is, it's a drop down and that's the list that's related to it. Okay, so let me just quickly grab our states list here. Let's just move this over. Okay, so looking at this part of the component, the drop down, we're going to need a default state, so an enabled state. That's good. We're going to need a hovered state. We're going to need a focus state, a don't think we'll need pressed. Let me get rid of that. We'll need an activated, because this is when it's open, so we can show an activated state, and we can add in a disabled state as well. Okay, let's just option, click and drag, and let's drag those states down. I've just called this options list for now, so this is our list of options. So for each of these options, they're going to have different states. So we're going to have an enabled state, we'll have a hovered state, we'll have a focus state. So we'll have an activated state as well, so when one of these options is already selected in the drop down. And last of all, we'll have a disabled state. Okay, I think that's good. We've established what states we're going to need for the moment. Let's just move these over to the left now. Okay, let's focus on the sort drop down first. So let's just see if we can have just a point of reference. So where is, I can just do it in here, type text. Okay, I just wanted to drag over the text field. Let me just turn off the feedback, the description. Let's just turn off that label for now as well. So looking at how big the text field is, I definitely don't want this sort drop down to be as big. Let's just slowly recreate this. So let me just draw out a quick frame. And let's just see what is the border on this. Let's see, so it's neutral 600. Okay, let's add neutral 600. Let's just see, the corners are rounded to 8. That's probably a bit extreme. I imagine if I did 8 it would look a bit, oh, it doesn't look too bad. I might just do it to 4 because it is going to be a little bit smaller. The text inside this is 14. Let me just copy and paste that text out just for the moment, and let's just double click there just to shrink that down. I think what I'm going to do is going to make it small text, so it's 12. I'm just going to reduce the line height. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Shift A on this and put it inside a container. Let me just rename that to drop down for now. Okay, let me just quickly drag out a frame over here. I'll just name this as test. Let me drag a copy of this over, so option, click and drag. Let's press Shift A on this test frame. Let's just zoom in. So on the drop down itself, I want an auto layout. That's fine, that's set to fill and hug. Let's go inside into the container. That's already got an auto layout. Okay, that should be fine. And we've got text inside it. Let's just take the container, set that to fill. Now I'm going to align that left so it pushes the text left. Now I need a drop down icon here. Let's go into this and let's grab an icon slot. There we go. Let's just drag and drop that in there. Okay, so it's currently large. Let's just knock it down to small. And let's go to the container level. We're currently aligned left. I'm going to double click and that pushes those elements out a bit. So that's good. Let me just grab a copy of the text field again. Let's just paste that beneath. Let's maybe give it a bit more space. Let's set that to fill. Okay, so let's just have a look at the spacing. So we've got 8 and 16. So I want the spacing to be a little bit tighter on this component here. So let me just start with the drop down. I'm not sure why we've got 1 there. Let's just put that there. We can just zero these out. Let me just use the variables. Okay, that's fine. Let's go into the container. So we've got 8 pixels either side. Okay, and then we've got 8 above, and then we've got 8 top and bottom. What's the overall size? So the text field is 40, this is 32. Okay, that should be fine for now. Let's option, click and drag. Let's bring it back over here. Let me just tidy things up a little bit. So let's just delete that. Let's move this up here. And let's just start to put these next to our states. Now this is likely going to follow similar states to the text field. Let me just reset this. So let's go up here. So enabled is here. So what's enabled? It is neutral 600, which we've already got. Yep, that's neutral 600. Let's option, click and drag, and let's move that down for hovered. And let's go in here, select hovered and see what we used. So we used Sapphire 300, so let's just update that stroke as well. Probably need to give myself a little bit more space here. Okay, that's good. Let's just option, click and drag. Oops, let's do that again. Option, click, drag. There we go. Okay, so now onto focused. Let's have a look at focused for the text field. So that's going to be I think it's neutral 900. Yeah. So let's just update that. Neutral 900. Okay. It's option, click, drag. Okay, so for activated, let's just go to, let's have a look at buttons. If I can spell button correctly. There we go. Close enough. Let's go here for button, and let's go from enabled. Let's go all the way to activated. So we used, let me scroll down, Sapphire 500. So let's go here. Let's go to Sapphire 500. There we go. I'm just going to reduce that to 1. Let's just see. Maybe that needs to be 2 pixels. Let me go up to buttons and let's just have a look. Yeah, activated. So let's do 2 pixels so that stands out a little bit more. Okay, and let's move on to, well, actually, if it's activated, let me go into the icon slot. Press enter again. It's not going to be chevron down. It's going to be chevron up, because the field will be activated, so it will then show you the drop down list. Okay, that's good. Let's option click and drag. Let's do it on enabled, and this is now going to be disabled. So let's have a look at disabled for both of these components. Okay, so first of all, the text is going to be neutral 100, which is right there. The background is going to be neutral. That's going to be 50. Probably going to use the same for the chevron. So neutral 100, neutral 100. Okay, there we go. I think that's it. I don't know if the stroke is a different color or if it remains the same. It's neutral 600, which I think, yeah, we've already got that. Okay, let me just go back up because the text I don't think is the correct color. So on enabled, text is neutral 600. I'm pretty sure that's not what it is here. Okay, so neutral 600. Yeah, I'm sure it's neutral 600 for all of these different states here. Neutral 600. We just option shift and click. Let's make sure these are neutral 600. Okay, I think that's all the states that we need at the moment. Let me just drag these across a little bit. Let's move those up there. Let's just delete that frame now to keep things tidy. Okay, let's just rename these. So Command R, and let's rename that to enabled. Command R, disabled. Command R, hovered. Let's press Command R again. So this one's focused. Command R, activated. Okay, I think that's good. Let's click on all of these elements and let's click on create component options, create multiple components. Let's combine them as variants, and let's just rename this to, I just call it drop down just for the moment, and let's just rename that to states. Let's put these in the correct order. So enabled, hovered, focus, activated, disabled. Yep, okay, that's all good. Okay, let's just copy that across to our page here. Let's move it there. Okay, let me just take a copy of the enabled. Option click and drag. Let's just bring that here. Okay, let's have a quick look. So we've got our enabled state, hovered, focused, activated, disabled. Okay, that all works really well. Let's just update the component name. Sort selector. There we go, that's correct. Okay, so as always with a component, we want to optimize it. So when we're designing, we've got a lot of flexibility. So currently I can access the different states. I probably want to be able to adjust the text. That would be an easy one to do. So let's go back to the master component. Let's click here on text and let's go up to multi-edit variants. That selects all the other text. Let's click on apply a variable or property and let's click on the plus. Okay, so let's give this a name. So we'll call this text label and we'll just leave that as the value of text for now. Let's create that. Let's click back over here and yep, we can update the text here. So long text string. Okay, there we go. So that works, and we can also adjust the different states as well. Okay, hopefully that's one part of the sort selector done. Let's just delete that. Okay, that's it for part 1 of the video. Part 2 will be next week. So like and subscribe, add some comments, and I will see you in the next video.